Got you. Got you. Got it. Okay.
Remember, I'm flexible. But...
Okay.
All right, so remember how this works? We do a sound check. Dr. L's like, I forgot how this worked. What do I gotta? What?
You going to Belvedere?
No, I gotta go back home.
Okay.
And then we make sure all of our devices are silenced,
Yeah.
unless you want to have your device not silenced. But if you
No,
want.
because the GPS, I couldn't remember how to get here.
I was so proud of myself. I didn't need the GPS to
Really?
come around the back way. I was like, am I going?
Now that part, because the GPS sends me the other way, so I did remember like, nope, turn off. That part did happen. All right. All right.
How's it sound?
Sounds good to
This
me.
sounds so good.
How do
So
you sound?
I couldn't even
Okay.
get my words out. I was saying, cut me up a little bit, because do I sound like...
I wait till you guys start talking.
Okay.
So you guys start having a conversation. Talk about breakfast.
I was singing Disney songs, and I was like, the sisters. John was like, who's the sisters?
What
Who is the
sisters?
What?
Elsa
Thank
and
you.
Anna. The sisters.
Elsa and Anna? Oh,
Are they sisters?
Yes, they're sisters.
They are sisters.
So I got to tell you, I'm not down with my Disney trivia. I should be. I know.
I mean, I guess your kids are like older.
15 and 15, almost 17.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. What did I watch? It wasn't Disney. Luca. I watched Luca.
I was not impressed.
Yeah.
I walked away from it because I wasn't.
Yeah,
like,
I was not
tuned in.
impressed. But once I start, I'll stay because I feel like it's going to end with some kind of powerful kind of thing.
Did you get that?
No.
You know what I also didn't get that for? Did you watch? Yes, you did. Fatherhood kept my heart.
And you know that's my guy. That is my guy. I wanted more to happen, I guess. Like, it was like, damn, the mother died, and I still
couldn't
was
take him seriously.
So now
I couldn't.
I have
couldn't
watched
take
him in
seriously.
another role that wasn't in that kind of comedic thing. So that wasn't the problem for me. But I was like, maybe it's Netflix. Like, I just wanted a little bit more drama. It was like, okay, you just going to be okay with this new girlfriend after your mother died? Like,
All right, sound is good. Video
Yeah,
is
good.
good. We're ready to go. I got a timer. Remember, this is mostly just a suggestion to keep you on task. This is the right sounds.
yes, it is!
So I'll start playing it. At some point, whoever's bringing us in is going to give me the high sign. And it looks like I'll fade it. And then you'll say something like, this is just practice, but you'll say something like,
Good morning.
Or something like that.
so, Sophia, can we talk about the amount of coffee you had this morning?
I don't drink coffee, sir. You should remember that.
I do. That's why I'm saying that.
I don't have any coffee. You see that?
Dude, really? That's been a minute.
I've cut back.
Impressive.
Come on, she's been cutting back 16 months ago. We should be completely gone at this point. But I guess this is a type of show in a therapeutic space of
This should be
even it's the
safe.
small. We celebrate the small steps.
So you guys talk. I'll talk. If you want to take a break, take a break. If you don't, if you want to stop and I'll just mark it down and I'll cut it out. After you're done talking, remember that the tricky part is always ending the show. You guys are really good at it, but I have some people that don't know how to stop talking. And I don't mean they don't know how to physically stop talking because they just close their mouth. They just don't know how to wrap up their
Wrap
thoughts.
No, we don't.
Right, so you're
That's
really
why
good
we
at
have
that.
takeaways.
Then somebody will jump over here, we'll type a title and a description, and we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Exciting! You guys tell me when you're ready. The video is rolling. I will give you the raw, unedited video. It is rolling now.
We're ready.
All right, I'm going to turn off the air conditioner. It might get a little warm.
Oh, no. I don't have any underclothes on.
That needs to be a topic in itself.
You don't have any what? What?
where you guys are. You are rocking with the real therapist for the culture.
And we are in the studio today.
Yes, we are. How does that feel?
It feels, I was nervous.
Tell me what you was nervous about.
It felt like the first day. It felt like our first time again. And so I'm like, oh shit, like my hands a little bit moist and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? I don't know what to say.
I put the address in the GPS. We physically have not been in this building for 16 months.
Has it been that long?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
You calculated it.
I did.
Fucking nuts.
Then I was like, Oh, she said the curse word. Woo! You know, she always saying like, who's gonna say the first? What is it? Explicitive.
Expletive.
Exclusive. And it was her. So yes, 16 months. So I had to put it in GPS. You know, my sense of direction is a little off anyway.
It's terrible.
So I did feel I was like playing just my pump up music. Wasn't nervous, but like super excited. I felt like I was on coffee or edible or something weird. I was super hyped. But getting up was a struggle though.
Was it?
Yeah. You know, I'm not a morning person, and I could damn near roll out of bed, get in the shower. My office has been in my home.
Yeah.
So to throw something on, to go outside, and that was
the whole process of getting ready to go.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it. I've been getting up maybe a couple times a week.
Okay.
Now, I think this week was the most times that I've gotten dressed consecutively.
Oh, good for you.
But it's only because I was forced to, because camp started this week.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I'm gonna take her in, I might as well just go in and, you know, been in the office and doing that type of thing. But
I think that's good. So I said that I'm officially going back in the office September. What I think I'm gonna do is like a soft opening. I'm gonna do a soft opening in August.
A soft launch?
Yeah, because my anxiety, and not necessarily anxiety of COVID per se, but just I like consistency and routine. Right. I could kind of play with the edge a little bit, and not doing it for so long. I complain about the office in my house or not being able to use it because my kids was using it, but I'm also used to it.
Right.
So I don't want to not be present in my sessions where I'm like trying to get comfortable in my chair, and the lighting is fucking with my eyes. And so I want to kind of play with it a little bit so that I could just be fully present when my clients are there.
Yeah. So this week, one of my clients I acquired during COVID, who I had never met in person, just happened to say, when you open in the office? And I was like, I'm actually going to be here all day today. And she left work early.
Sweet.
So she could come in. And I was like, oh shit, I missed this.
Yeah.
Like I talk about missing my office because it's so cute. Right. And I'm like, my cute office is just sitting there and nothing is happening.
Acquiring
with it.
Dust.
Right. And so for me to like say, come on in.
Yeah. I hope I don't do something weird like hug them or something
and you know I'm not a huggy person, right? I am not a touchy, but I wanted to hug her. Yeah. And I just was like, it's so nice to meet you in person.
Almost fucking hugged John, but jumped into his arms. I didn't know what to do, so we just elbowed. But it was like, I don't want to do weird shit like that. So August has to be a soft before I do weird shit for clients, and then they start tweeting about me like my client always talk about boundaries and just did some other shit and thrusted me. Like, oh my gosh. Just excited to be out. So we are here. And you know what I appreciate with our listeners, one thing that John has done is he kept us abreast of our listeners. And even though we were in mommy duties and still working, our hearts were still here, but just we physically couldn't be here. So our listeners were getting caught up Like, that was so dope to see. I was like, oh my God, they're going to forget about us.
But even acquiring new listeners.
Exactly. So that's why I want to spend some time. I want to thank the old listeners who have been kind of getting caught up if they missed the episode, going on YouTube and watching. I saw some more views. I was like, oh, that's so good. But how would you describe why we created this for people who are completely new?
So that's so that's good. Because I was explaining to somebody. So wait a minute, back up. When we first started doing this, our dear producer John was telling us like we had to have an elevator. What was it? An elevator speech?
Exactly.
Like
what's your elevator pitch? Pitch,
right?
What is it? Like 30 to 60 seconds, if that kind of thing.
And go, right? And so I was like, oh shit. What's the pitch, right? But basically, Sophia and I, we developed, we always wanted to do something that demonstrated to people that therapists are regular, being in therapy is regular, and we are the most regular fucking people, but so intelligent and can bring the knowledge at the same time. And so I think one thing, even with that being our goal at the beginning, what people have learned about us is that we're probably the realest it's going to get when it comes to a professional clinician. And that is what I think people have loved about listening to our show. We're gonna go straight to the nitty gritty, and we're going to flesh it apart, and we're going to mix it up, and then we're going to give you some real, some data and some statistics, and you'll be, a little bit more informed.
Yeah. I like it. I like that pitch. I like it.
It's funny because I acquired another client during COVID who was our listener, and their spot was this spot. 9:00 on Thursday.
Okay, got you.
So yesterday I was like, hey, Real Therapist going back in the studio. Can we move? She was like, I'm so excited. Yes, we can move it. So we got another day. She was like, I can't tell you how excited I am that y'all going back in the studio.
Yeah.
And so that's funny to know that somebody was listening to our shenanigans.
No, it's true. When that happens, I'm like, but that's the point, right? We wanted to be able to normalize mental health, but also kind of normalize what therapists look like. African Americans particularly, or minorities particularly, just don't trust the medical field.
Process.
And mental health falls under that medical system, right?
Absolutely.
So not only we were doing it, so when we say culture, we're talking about a variety of cultures, young culture, older culture, rap culture, minority culture. We're talking really all cultures. But what was important for me is when I used to have conversations with people who look like me, or just black and brown people would say, I don't trust. And I'm like, you on probation or something? And they like, no, but still, where's this going to go? Is it going to go to my job? Is it going to go to my school? And it really kind of debunked that for a lot of people. Like, oh my God, they're regular. They have regular issues, but they know some stuff.
Right.
And having clients that would get a person who looked like them but became their friend.
Yeah.
And that used to do something internally for me where they would be like, yeah, she started telling me what was happening. And, I'm all for, especially the more years of my experience feeling comfortable with what self-disclosure looks like, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm with that. But then when you can tell me more about what's happening in the therapist relationship, and this was kind of like an equal conversation, that does something to black female therapists, because now you think I'm your girlfriend. And now I have to be like, no. And sometimes I'll say that to a client. Listen, I'm not your friend. That's one of the perks of being here. So I am here to support you and nurture you, but I am not your friend. That's the beauty. And when I say it, it'd be like, I'm not taking sides. I'm not going to tell you to break up with Chris and not talk to your mother because she fed me when I was 5 at the park. None of that. You get some real objective, but having someone hold your hand in the process. That is dope.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just had somebody tell me yesterday, and I've heard some shit, but I didn't hear this. And basically, their therapist was let go because of whatever reason, boundary issues. And they were like, and since they're not my therapist anymore, we kind of been smoking and drinking together.
Oh, wow.
I said, oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
And then the runner-up statement was, so now I'm thinking therapy must have been bullshit the whole time because this person is fucked up as me.
and that's the thing, right?
I was like,
your therapist may be as fucked up as you, right? He or she just may have learned some different skills to be able to manage it, because we all have some fucked up things in us, right? But that's what even this platform, hey, it's not easy for me either, but 15 years helped me manage it, opposed to people feeling like they're broken and they need to be fixed. No, you don't. You just need to kind of manage some of the trauma and manage some of the things that you experience, not so much thinking that the therapist isn't like you, because she is.
Yeah.
It just looks different.
Absolutely.
It just looks different. So, yeah, that's a good thing. So this platform was created for that, and it seems to be effective, and we're gonna keep it going. Actually, this.
But wait a second.
What? Go.
But also, remember the feedback we got a few months ago was that our show makes people believe that cool, knowledgeable therapists are easy to come by. And they go and they get them a therapist and they be like, dry. And they be like, what the hell?
So that's true, right? Yes, we did. We got that personally as well as collectively on Instagram at The Real Therapist, right? And what I said to someone is, guys, don't forget people are individuals. It's going to be a unique experience. Just trust the process in a sense. But if it's not a good connection, then let it go, kind of thing. Don't compare. Because, I mean, even with us, people will say in our DM on our page, we are so different. One of the clients that I got who was a listener, she was like, I don't want you to think that I didn't like Dr. L. And I was like, you don't have to explain. Like, it's okay. We are different,
Absolutely.
you know? So, and people point that out, like, oh, Soph kind of got this edge and Dr. L got this way. And then sometimes they will see that it overlap. It's no different, guys. It's really like dating.
It really, 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 really is. And that is one thing that we say all the time, and this is a good time to say it. You know, your therapist should match you and not necessarily be like you, but there should be a good fit. And you do not have to maintain a relationship with a therapist that you don't feel like you fit well with. And so you can call 10 therapists and ask them an array of questions to inform you if this person would be a good fit for you to expose some of your most vulnerable truths to.
Exactly. And another thing that I explain to people is that I get, especially when it's traumatic and there's some real deep stuff there, a lot of times we're looking for people who have had the same experiences. So it's like, have you ever did drugs? Have you ever been molested? And there are times.
Are you married?
That's a very good one. Exactly. Like, so sis, don't tell me nothing about this marriage if you're not. Do you have children? All of those type of things, right? And remember that people can truly support you without having the identical or the same experiences that you went through. There are tons of things that my clients have been through that I haven't. But what is my favorite thing? Feelings are universal, not so much experiences. There are groups and stuff where you will find people who have experienced the same thing, but you don't have to find a therapist that have been exactly through what you've been through. So just be mindful of that and not just rule it out, because people do know what it feels like to be sad, hurt, embarrassed, feel guilt
Loss.
and shame, loss, all of those array of feelings. And that is a common place for you.
Absolutely.
And that's where the training comes in and all those different things. But I've heard people say they don't seem like they've been through anything, or they don't seem like they've been through what I've been through. Don't rule that out. That person may have a lot of gems to offer, even though they wasn't raised in the hood. Like, people feel like, oh, she black, and then you get this kind of very suburban kind of thing, and it's like, oh, I thought because she had on a Nike tech suit, she was gonna be able to relate. No, but it also doesn't mean that he or she still can't really support you.
Absolutely.
So don't
connect.
Exactly. July is one of the ones, right? Is it
Minority Mental Health Month?
Exactly. So this is perfect time for us to be kicking this off again, because one thing that is important about us, like, we talk about things that's culturally related, but everything with us is mental health.
Absolutely.
And that's why, so we got 15 or more of years and blah, blah, blah amount of degrees, but we have been clinicians, coaches, from the womb. Like, it's just who we are. So every topic is about a mental health matter.
So we have, do we have like 30 episodes total?
Yeah, I believe so.
Close to 30.
John's going to tell us right now.
If it's not 30, it's close to 30.
Okay.
Right? And so if you are a new listener, Sophia hates that I laugh before I tell my joke, okay?
Because I'm sitting here with the big dumb smile. 45.
What, John?
Wait, look, we're trying to read his hand cues. This is terrible.
I'll cut this out. 49.
49.
We have 49 episodes. Damn, baby.
Damn.
And so our range of episodes. We have episodes. Now you're laughing and I haven't said anything, and you're laughing and I haven't even fucking said anything.
Because I hate that I know this goofball. I know where she's going.
We have episodes from getting plastic surgery all the way down
coming out the closet,
all the way over to grief and loss, back to suicide,
back to who wants to be a baby mother. We cover
and anxiety cross the zodiac.
Exactly. We just got something. Please be gentle on these Virgos. Like, come on. We hear it all the time, but we started on, am I enough?
We can relate any conversation back to mental health.
And if you don't believe us, bring it.
Watch. Just watch.
Watch us work. Because everything is. Think about it, right? Mental health is really just your state of thoughts, emotions, being. Like,
that is what happens when you experience life. You experience feelings, you experience thoughts, your body might physically react.
Exactly.
And as much as it's a physical reaction, it's usually stemmed from the mental thought first.
Yes, we are. So the beautiful thing of just learning personally, but also clinically, is like they're all interconnected, right?
Absolutely.
But younger years, I could admit that I wouldn't pay attention to my physical as much. Everything was how I felt and how I was thinking. And it was like, oh, I'm healthy, I'm good. And literally my body was shut down at least once a year and get something weird like bronchitis. Some shit I ain't never had. But it was.
You had that this past year?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't, sis, in 5 years.
Okay.
Because I made the connection of, oh my gosh, when I am mentally and emotionally and spiritually out of whack, my body shuts down to get my attention, to get in line with the other three. Boom. And until I got it, that would have happened every year. It would have intensified to get my attention. Sometimes, so mine was neglecting the physical and thinking about the emotional, mental and spiritual, and life had to get my attention through the physical. It's important for you to say to yourself, of these 4 elements, because you are all 4 of these, which one do you neglect? And it may be spiritual, because sometimes people connect spiritual to religiosity kind of thing.
And the actions related to religion,
exactly.
like going to church and stuff like that.
So it's like when life seems disconnected for you, just step back and say, which one is out of alignment? Which one is not there? And guarantee you focus on that, everything would feel more cohesive. So it's almost impossible not to look at mental health in everything. And when I'm talking to people personally, I scale back because it's like, oh, here you go as a therapist. And I'm like, that's not even, this is just a mature conversation. Have you looked at blah, blah, blah? It may sound clinical, and I try to downplay it a little bit, but it's impossible not to connect everything to your mental health.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes. As long as...
I'm sweating. Like, I don't even know what it's like sitting in this chair. This is a little plastic. Like, my thighs is rubbing. I'm having a whole situation over here.
But your bronzer on that nose is, I can see it.
Thank you.
Yeah. We still have attention problems. Sorry. As long as I have had eczema, I always thought that it flared up differently based on the season.
There you go.
Right?
But
what I did learn is that my eczema flares up with stress terribly.
Yeah.
And so if I notice that these patches are inflamed and just fucking itching out of nowhere, I know to like almost regroup what the hell is happening.
Yeah.
And sometimes we stress about things unconsciously.
Yeah.
And so we might be, caught up in the hustle and bustle and not really realizing
be aware that
exactly. And so when I get like a flare up, I'm like, oh shit, what's happening? And have to like step back, regroup, slather some ointment, but at the same time get my mind together too.
Yeah. That physical piece is usually going to get, especially the busy heads. I'm so busy. I'm always busy. I got kids. I got to go to camp. I got to do the busy heads. That element of physical is usually going to be what pulls us in.
Yeah.
What really pulls us in. And think about what you said. That's what most people do, kind of project it to something else. Oh, it's the season. Oh, this is with my allergies. And not saying that doesn't play a part, right? But there's something internal that's always moving.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool. You could say that this is all about the seasons, but don't forget to check in and say, what's happening? Just a simple question like that.
Absolutely.
However you say it to you. What the fuck is going on? Or, hey, what's happening with me?
Yeah.
It's good.
So I wanted to, I'm glad we're kind of doing like a reintroduction and our conversations can get away from being pandemic related, right? But I noticed something like, so we're in July. So probably May and June, inquiries about therapy were down.
May and June? Okay.
May and June. Inquiries were a little bit down. My thought was, world is opening back up. People are getting back to their norm, right? But in the past week, I'm talking phone is on fire.
Right.
What do you think is happening?
So I think, I didn't see May and June, but I definitely agree that there was that kind of
dip.
Yes, exactly, somewhere, right? And then this recent influx. And what I think that happens is just like life was ripped away a year and a half ago, right? And here you had to sit with you. At first, people were panicking, and then people started to realize I got to do life differently, getting more in tune with myself, my family, and kids, all of these different things, right? And they got into that. And then soon as there was this glimpse of opening, you forget. You forget, and you just jump right back into
the bullshit.
And then now what's happening is people getting hit like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot I don't do toxic people anymore. What happened to positive energy and all these cute colloquial little statements?
Taking my unemployment.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, shit, now I'm back at the family cookouts with things that's triggering me. I'm back dating again, and it's reminding me of failed relationships that happened. I'm back at the work office where I don't fucking like this job or these people, but for the whole pandemic, I said I was gonna take a risk on me. So I think what's happening is you jumped in with no life vest, and it's like, oh shit, I'm drowning it a little bit.
Yeah.
Help.
And so although that has happened, and we look at a year and a half and like that's a lot of time, but it feels like fucking yesterday, to be honest, right? And it almost the past year and a half is really a small snippet of life in general.
Yeah.
And that is what life does to us, but usually it's just more spread out, right? And where we might lose focus, we get back focused, and then some time goes by, you add another kid per se, and now you're not focused again, or you didn't reset the schedule or whatever life change. And so I like that you said that the biggest issue being people have difficulty with transition.
Yeah, 100%.
And we don't know how to prepare for life transitions. And I tell people all the time, you have to almost, when you know you're going into a transition, the get ready phase is thinking about how is this going to change my life.
Yeah.
So you get a new job. Now you're working 11 to 7. You need to sit and think about how an 11 to 7 schedule is going to change your life.
Right.
Not wait until you in it and say, I can't do this. You know what I mean? And so I that gave me a little bit of perspective. I needed that. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally the patterns. And one of the things that within this year and a half that not only I said to myself and loved ones and clients was, there's this disorder, right? Adjustment disorder that we all at some point has experienced, right?
Absolutely.
And this is particularly one because like you just shared that this happens in life, but what happened that was different, we are not usually all impacted together. People go through rough times for a year and a half, 5 years, but that might be one person out your crew of 10, but everyone was impacted. So it gave you an opportunity to kind of collectively heal, collectively discuss.
What was that episode we did? We did an episode on collective grief.
Yes, exactly, right? When Nipsey Hussle or, or George Floyd or just people, and it's like, I never met this person, right? So this was an opportunity for that in the other way, right? That, like I said, collectively healing, just having conversation. Because sometimes when people are going through stuff, you can't relate. So you just kind of sitting there like, yeah, girl, I know that's rough. Yeah. I'm going to pray for you. But it was like, no, I'm going crazy too. I don't know if I'm going to choke my kids out. I don't know if I'm going to run away from my husband. I don't know. So, but now no one's talking anymore. Now it's like, what brunch are you going to? Everyone's traveling again. Flight prices are ridiculous. Mexico prices used to be about $300. Now it look about $600.
1,000. I saw 1,000. I was like, hell no.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's different. So we go through, like you said, this transition, but just being okay with adjusting to the new. I had offer people to like journal because the same thing like pain. Say you get a tattoo, you be like, oh my God, that hurt. I'm never doing that again. As soon as it's healed, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get another one.
Yeah, it's just like having kids.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I'm never doing this again. Don't say anything until the scar heals or whatever. And then it's like, I think we could do another one in a couple of years. That's the same thing that happens in situations like this, right? But sometimes if you track it, right, you go back and say, oh, wow, this is what I was saying in April. This is what I was saying in May. So now that we're in July now, it's not just forgotten. We can't just keep forgetting. Life is constantly teaching us lessons and we forget it. We forget the lesson and then wonder why when the building falls down on us again, it's like, how did I get here again? How do I keep attracting people like this? How do I keep attracting friends? You keep missing the lesson. And it's no judgment on it. It's just being aware. This pandemic, yeah. I don't care what CDC and people were saying, this really was an opportunity for us to learn some stuff about ourselves. So just because it's open, and don't get me wrong, I love it too. But I cannot forget what I was supposed to be learning from this.
I saw the meme, and the meme said, I like it better when the world was closed.
Oh, I love that one.
That's me.
I love that one.
That's me. Because you know what? I probably in one of our first conversations, in the midst of the shenanigans, I said I didn't mind it, right? Mm-hmm. Like I now had a reason to slow down. The last time we was at this table, I was complaining about not getting a snow day.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then
watch what you ask for.
You gotta watch what you ask for.
Because you will manifest it.
You will manifest it. The last time we sat at this table, don't know what episode that was, but I was telling Sophia that I was pissed that we did not get a snow day.
It was a fake snow day with some flurries.
And a snow day gives me permission to do nothing. And then I got a whole fucking pandemic that gave me a permission to slow down, right? And so now...
But now it's also, I'm sorry, but that just came to me. Because now, let's say for lessons, right? The lesson is I don't need permission to slow down. I could just give myself the permission to slow down.
You're absolutely right.
I'm just saying, hypothetically, that could have been a takeaway, right?
Absolutely.
Or a lesson.
Absolutely. But you know how I feel right now? I feel like people are pressuring you to go back out in the fucking world, and I'm not ready.
Right?
I only want to do it a little bit.
Yeah.
I only want to do it a little bit.
So why not do it a little bit, right? This is where it's like we just start to conform back to the old ways that we said that we hate. Why does the world need to get this Delta variant to shut you down again? No, just choose. No, I'm sorry. I can't. No, I don't want to. We don't have to conform back to the ways that was not serving us. So now my thing was I needed to slow down. Like, I don't care how young I thought I was. I know mentally I needed to slow down. And now all these clients are calling, and I could go to the office and do this. And I keep saying, no, you will not. You will not go in crackhead mode. You will not. Next year is a lot. I got a whole slew of people hitting these 40 milestones. I got a kid off to college, someone turning 13, blah, 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 blah. I am not, right? But then what does show up for me is then I start to say, well, are you doing enough? Because I've been so used to. So now that's the narrative that I've told myself for so many years. But now I get to deal with that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Instead of just going back into my busyness and fulfill my victim story and my old narrative that I've been telling myself. No, I could deal with what does show up. What shows up is me saying, well, because you're not busy all the time now, is that enough? Are you doing enough? Should you be doing more? So I'm just going to deal with that. I'm just going to deal with that inner judge that try to shows up instead of going back to that other way. It did not serve me. It was exhausting.
All right. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like I'm balanced and stuff. You know what I mean?
Heard you, sis.
I've been a little balancing my chakras and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, life is definitely opening, and that's okay. That's okay. It feels good. It does feel good going outside more and doing things. My kids are in sports again. Like, it's good seeing them excited. Like, they pushed through, but I could see this depletion. Like, just like, okay, on the game more, on the phone more. Like, I'm seeing this vibrant kind of thing show up. So that's beautiful to watch, but I'm choosing. Like I said, even next year, this 2022 kind of thing, I'm learning to be okay with saying, I'm not going to make everything.
Yo,
that's hard for me, because if you made something for me, I feel like, oh my God, I got to be there for you because you was there for mine. And I'm not going to be able to make everything.
It's so funny because, so I have some teenage house guests. That's one thing during the pandemic. I had a lot of children. I had a lot of house guests.
Yeah.
All right. Just, family, kids come in and stay in for weeks at a time. So I got a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old and then my 8-year-old. And so the other day, Journey's cousins who are in New York, I don't know what's up with kids, but they call each other on these devices, and when you don't answer, they keep calling. ZJ said to Journey the other day, why it took you so long to answer? And I'm like, what? So they're just calling her, and she's like, I wish they stopped calling me. And so I ain't say nothing because I be in observation mode, right? So then she clicked it. She was like, why do y'all keep calling me? They're like, because you're not answering. And she's like, I got to go to the store with my mother. And clicked it. And I turned around and looked at her. I said, you just lied? She was like, yes, that's the only thing that they listen to.
Oh,
and I was like,
oh, shoot.
You don't have to lie to tell somebody you need space. Yes, you do, because then, so it ended up being a whole household conversation between all of us.
Yeah.
And so the kids are telling me how they lie on their parents all the time when they don't want to do things. They tell their friends, my mom said I can't. I was like, what do you mean?
Look how early that starts.
Exactly, right? And it's not even like where did you get that from? What made you believe that you had to do that? So I was having this whole speech with them, telling them, I said, you don't have to lie to people if you're not in the mood to do something. I said, you don't have to be rude. You don't have to, shut them down or whatever the case is. You can say, I'm not able to do this. Mm-hmm. I was like, and if your friends who you say are your friends get mad at you because you can't do something or you don't feel like it, then they you might want to reevaluate the friendship. They was laughing at me.
I mean, because think about it. Even as you're saying that, here I am, a whole grown up,
preparing,
a professional, and yet I'm like cringing, like, oh my God, nobody wants to say that to their friends. No one. So I couldn't imagine at 8, 13, and 15 where they're just understanding a glimpse of what relationships and dynamics look like. So imagine grown-ups are like, they just don't. So what happens is, this is the funniest thing, is people don't want to go. You show up, and now everyone could tell you didn't want to be there, your energy-wise, and it's kind of like...
And now nobody wants you there because you're being either a stick in the mud or an asshole.
Exactly. So it's like, why did you come in the first place? Or... This is the beautiful thing. This happens to me at times where I know how to perform, because what I always say is people, these Capricorns, we know how to be extroverts, but naturally, only kid or not, we are naturally introverts. Mm-hmm. We just know how to do that well. So people will confuse thinking that that's our comfort. It's not. So what happens is I didn't want to go, and I went, and I did that, and now I am fucking empty. It's 8:30. This day party was till 11, and I'm exhausted because I gave all this energy that I didn't want to give. Hey, how you look good, girl. Oh, how's the podcast? How's work? How's all them fucking kids? Blah, 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 blah. You got to do this whole song and dance. And that comes natural when I want it to. But when I have to force it, so like I said, you have two things that's happening. The person who you could tell, why did she come in the first place?
That's me.
Or, yes, right? Or, because I said this time around, I wasn't going to blow you up unless you wanted to say that, right? So that's definitely shook, where it's like, what did you come for? Because you guys said that I don't ever do anything.
I stopped doing it, though.
Exactly. Good for you.
I stopped doing it, but my friends they also respect and they know me enough to be okay with it,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
So,
but it took years of learning that. Like, come on, you never come out. And then you come out, be like, why the fuck did I say that? Like, I wish you wouldn't. Because now it's like, and then we used to do this thing, me, her, and another friend. We used to carpool. And then me and the other friend would have to say, she's going to be ready in 45 minutes. Just ignore her. She's going to tap one of us like, she try to feels you out. Like, look at this one. Ooh, she look like she down. She ready to go. Let me go to her first. And then if this one ignore, like we used to have to game plan. Like, we're not leaving until 2 hours. So in 45 minutes, we're just going to ignore her for an hour and 15 minutes. Or like I said, you're the other person who shows up and you perform, and now you are wiped out for damn near a day. because you've given all your energy to a group that you didn't want to.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing. You know, it's not like, oh, I don't love you, I don't mess with you. Actually, sometimes it is a decent time. But at the end of the day, I denied me for you. And that is what I'm no longer doing. Because that's what, when you got to reframe things to help change, right? Because if you just say like, oh, it's just because you kind of boring or you never go nowhere, that may foster you to do it, right? But if you start saying things like, when I show up to things that makes me uncomfortable
or that are not my thing,
just isn't serving to me, whatever that looks like, denies me. And I remember what that felt like as a kid and a relationship when I was denied. That doesn't feel good.
Right.
So I am doing the same thing that I made somebody else, the perpetrator, I'm doing to me.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Right.
When you reframe it like that, it's like, ouch.
So the takeaway in that blurb is, even though the world is opening back up, do not get back in the habit of denying yourself.
Exactly.
And continue to choose you. And I often tell people, you know, sometimes it's about balance too, right?
Yeah.
And so you do sacrifice for people you love. And so, you know, I know for me, it's easier for me to say, I'm going, this is how long I'm going, these are the circumstances under which I'm going, this is what I'm going to wear because this is what I'm going to be comfortable in physically. And I can do that and I can feel good about it, not feel empty, and still show whoever I love whatever support I wanted to communicate to them.
Yeah. Perfect. What you created was boundaries.
Right.
Where I did get to show love to someone, but honored myself.
Right. Absolutely.
With these 5 stipulations that I'm going to. And it's okay if sometimes you get there and that changes, right? It's like, I'm going to stay here.
What you say? I'm showing up late and I'm leaving early?
Exactly. I had this little champagne. I called it Soph's Rosé Garden. And I was so proud of myself because those are things that I don't do for me, right? I throw parties for my kids and stuff like that, but just would never do anything like that for myself. And I enjoy drinking champagne. And it wasn't my birthday. And it was like, you know what? I went back and forth so many months about something that should have been so simple. But that was a sign for me of, you just don't know how to celebrate you, huh? But you want to celebrate everybody else for every little step that they take. Just do it just because you can, right? But anyway, a guest wanted to know if Dr. L was going to be there. I said, listen, homeboy, you saying you get there. So the thing was, what, from 4 to 10 maybe? I said, you saying you might get there at 9. She's going to be gone. She's going to be there early and she's going to leave early. He was like, what?
I don't appreciate you telling my secrets, though.
And so it really wasn't a secret because I felt like this was something that you would have enjoyed as well. So it was like, it was more of a tip. It was more of a tip, like, you might want to get there in the 6-ish range.
What time did I get there?
Close to 5, like one of my first guests, like the first maybe 3 guests. And it was like she had this window, and that's what the point that I was saying is honoring yourself. So say before you leave the house, you give yourself these boundaries for you. It's okay if you renegotiate them.
But you know what?
You may say an hour and you get there and you having a good time. Like, I'm going to stay another half an hour. That's okay.
And so that, you know what? So the lesson, the honoring yourself lesson, it happened a couple of times in that one moment. And so, yes, Sophia knows I'm not the close the party down. She knows I'm not shutting the party down, right? And I got there. I was enjoying myself, and then my daughter
was blowing her
starts texting me, talking about, I need you to come get me. Now, mind you, she's already established she was staying the night with her grandmother. She's texting me like, I need you to come get me. And I'm like, why? And she was like, 7 p.m. The fuck? What you mean?
She told her the time.
I said, why? I didn't say what time. Because I miss you. Now, in the olden days, I would have jumped up and been like, I gotta go. There's something wrong. I don't know what's wrong. Somebody's doing something to my kid. I gotta go right now. Right? And I was like, nah, man, I'm sitting here. I'm chilling. I'm vibing. I'm enjoying myself, getting my ratchet on for a couple minutes. And Then I left when I was ready to go. The girl was calling me before I got on 695 talking about something. When are you coming? I said, listen here.
I hate what she tried to.
I did. I said, listen here. I'm out doing something. Your plans changed. Mine did not. I am not on your time. You know what the hell her ass wanted? Popeyes.
Yeah.
She wanted to come home because her grandmother didn't take her to Popeyes.
And that's the thing, right? That's the lesson. And even the fucking 8-year-old will manipulate you. People will manipulate you in life to feel guilty about things. And what happens is the way our mind is built, when guilt shows up, it triggers all the other times guilt shows up. So then you feel like you need to respond. And then it goes into shame. And not saying that happened with Dr. L, but just be mindful of those things. When people say things to you and it triggers an emotion, and just like, am I responding out of what I'm feeling right now? Or am I responding because you made some valid points and I do want to show up, or whatever the case is? But them kids will do it too. This year was like this whole year of SOF and COVID or not. And ZJ will make me feel terrible. I took one of my boys on a date for his birthday in April because I wasn't at his celebration. And ZJ was like, oh, you don't take me on dates. And I was like, huh? This is his brother, right? He was like, you don't take me on dates only out the country. I'm like, well, wait. I didn't even know where to go with that. You know how...
I would have just wanted to mush him.
Yo, that sounded so entitled and spoiled and rotten. Like, I only take you on dates out the country, not locally. But you know what? I said that to my husband one time.
I believe it.
I said to him, I said, okay, you take me on all these trips, but when's the last time we had a local date? I said, I couldn't even. That's why being in tune with yourself is so important, because I would have went in on the 7-year-old and missed the lesson that was mirroring me.
Oh, yes.
And it was like, oh, you spoiled, rotten fucking brat. Before you check him, you got to deal with your bratty ways and then bring it to them. But the manipulation happens. He attempts to make me feel bad. And I let the feeling come up, and then I say, no, I still need to do this, because on like many of our episodes, we talked about, if I am empty, I am not really pouring into anything. It looks cute. It looks like I'm mothering, but they're really not getting the best of me. So I do not care if you didn't go on a trip since January. You're not on the itinerary, sir. I got 4 on the itinerary, and when I'm done, we'll look to see if there's room for you, because I have to fill me up in order to pour into other people. Why do you think people cannot handle that? Forget the kids, because we know they only know what we have shown them, right? But why do you think family and friends cannot handle, I am taking time to fill me up? And not that that's any of your business, right? Because it's really not. But just in our human experiences, when we love people, it becomes our business. But why do you think that's so hard for people?
Because we have trained them to to feel that way. We have, and maybe not intentionally.
Right. Most of the time it's not.
But if you're the friend who's always available, the minute you're not available, you're a bad person. And not saying that you have to play with people, but if you start from the beginning, and nobody does this, but you know, as you get older and you develop more relationships, you set boundaries more at the beginning than you would have.
Absolutely. They become super loose.
Super, right.
20 years in.
Exactly.
25 years in.
Exactly. And so from the onset, if you say, I love you, I want to be there for you, but I have to do this thing first, or, hey, how can I help you? Or even saying, well, I can't drive to Virginia and get you today, but tomorrow I can meet you in D.C., right? Or offering to people what you can provide, as opposed to giving them what they want immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so even journey with that damn Popeyes, right? I took her ass to Popeyes. I didn't pay for the Popeyes. And I said, do you have money? Yeah, I got my wallet. okay, because I will swing you through the drive-thru of Popeyes, but I'm not buying it. And so, you know, you have to kind of, it's not all or nothing all the time. Sometimes it's about getting the in between. And so, you know, as we start to, you know, conclude our first episode of 2020, is this our first episode of 2021?
No, we did one in March.
Did we? Feels like eons ago.
We did. What we were talking about is it
the
okay
one on my couch?
Yeah, I believe so. It was is it okay to divorce your family? We were talking about the royal family and talking about the toxicity and things, people training people and then trying to untrain them in certain ways. And sometimes it's just okay if the relationship dissolve. I hate that word when it comes to
evolve. Let's not call it dissolve.
Yeah,
let's
like
call
reframing.
It evolve.
Yes.
Because evolution doesn't necessarily mean bigger and better. Sometimes evolution meant extinction.
Yeah,
Darwinism?
Yeah, there you go. I'm spelling it in my head and saying Darwinism.
So yes, your
exactly.
relationship can evolve, and the evolution may look like more
separation. Exactly.
Distance.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. And I'm all for reframing things where it feels good, because sometimes the connotation of a word impacts the feeling that's evoked from it. So when you say the relationship dissolved, that feels somber.
It feels like
sad,
you lost
grief,
something.
you know? But when you say, no, we evolved. I've evolved from some people, and that's okay, right? So good. Yes. So this is not our first, but this is our first in a sense because we're back in the studio. And just to let you guys know, we kind of talked about what this is, but one of the things we do this kind of single blind kind of thing where one of the hosts picks a topic, the other host has no idea. So our next episode, we're kicking that off again, where I'll be picking a topic. Dr. L comes in completely blind. And we like that because it doesn't make it so scripted, right? So we can't
do scripted.
We
scripted
doesn't
go well.
People asked us to do a training. Remember we did a training a couple of years ago somewhere downtown, and they was like, all right, well, here's the blueprint. We was like, got it. Yep. And it wasn't arrogance, right? It's really just a level of confidence. Like, you don't need to give me a paper on depression and PTSD or statistically what's happening in communities. We like to look at statistics because it's just the nature, but we don't need to read it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that we do not stay abreast of what's happening in our field, but we just threw the goddamn things, and they were like, oh, this was so yummy. The one here last month, we were bored and blah, 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 blah. We just can't do scripted. Yeah. So it keeps us from not even looking that way.
It keeps it very authentic.
Exactly. I don't know. She don't know. And we just kind of vibe from that. So our next one is kicking that off. How can they find us?
They can find us a few places. They can find us on Instagram at Real Therapist, with an S on the therapist. I got my
retainers in. I hate it. It's so slushy mouth.
Can you like
right, yep.
Come on. At Real Therapist. You can find us on Facebook at Real Therapist.
Yeah.
And we're on Clubhouse.
Yes.
Right? We're on Clubhouse.
I forgot about that.
We're gonna dip into that because we're I think we're at Real Therapist on Clubhouse as well.
Yes. Gmail is Real Therapist
at Gmail.
It's not it's not hard,
right? So yes, just Google us or some shit.
And you can, we're always open to different topics and your experiences, things that moved you. We have had topics where people were coming at us like, I don't agree. We're open to that. Like I said, when you've been doing things for, getting close to 20 years, it's kind of like, it's not personal. Like, we're not angry.
Right.
So you could tell us your differences of opinions and things like that. And what we always do at the end of the show, even though it's takeaways throughout, is do takeaways. So even though we didn't have a topic per se today, but we were talking about mental health and just a conglomerate of things. What what's a takeaway?
So one of my takeaways is definitely continuing to be intentional.
I love that word. Say it again. Say it sexy.
Live intentionally.
Yes.
And what that means, because remember we had this episode. Now we're old. Now I feel we're old because we're saying, remember that episode? Remember that time? Remember
now that we know it's 49 episodes, right? Remember back then?
Shit, you just made me lose my train of thought. No. Being intentional. Oh, yes. How people throw these words around like, oh, I'm protecting my peace. Intentional is the new one. I just want to be intentional, right? So it's cute. It's real cute and sexy, right? But